This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
Welcome back. Today is American Diabetes Association Alert Day. Thousands of people are diagnosed with diabetes each year. The good news is you can lower your risk. To learn more about diabetes and what you need to know, we have Carrie Snyder here this morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about what is diabetes.
Diabetes, the best way I explain it to our patients is it's an insulin issue. Whether or not we're not making enough insulin, just like with a type 1 diabetic, that is an autoimmune disease. So what has occurred is the cells in their body has stopped being able to make insulin because essentially our body has attacked those cells that typically make it. So then they're dependent. That's what we talk about an insulin dependent diabetic. So they have to have those shots. Then you have individuals that are type 2 diabetic, and that is still an insulin problem. It's either we're making enough insulin, but our body's not responding to it correctly, or we are what we call insulin resistant, or type 2 diabetes is a very progressive disease. So they get possibly to that point where they are not making enough insulin themselves, and they might have to start taking insulin.
Okay, and diabetes is not curable. Once you have diabetes, you have diabetes.
Well, with type 1, we don't have a cure for it. For type 2, something we always explain to our patients is it is not necessarily curable, but it's reversible from the standpoint of it's very controllable. So, and that's what we're going to talk here in a little bit about those risk factors. And some of those risk factors we don't have any control over, and some of them we do have a lot of control over. So we do see individuals that are diagnosed with diabetes that have high blood sugar due to that insulin resistance or the lack of insulin, but due to either medications, changes in their diet, and physical activity, those combination of those three, we're able to get them in control.
Okay. Now you mentioned that we were going to talk about the risk factors. There's a test that people can kind of take, and it's numbered. So higher the number, maybe the higher the risk you are. So let's go ahead and talk about that. We actually have a graphic, and I know it's really hard to see on your screen. So if you want to head over to KTVO.com later on this afternoon, you'll be able to actually see this test, download it, and actually take it for yourself. But Carrie right now is going to go ahead and just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, one of the risk factors is just, are we men or women? And really, men have an increased risk of diabetes. We see they just go undiagnosed. That prevalence of them going undiagnosed is more than women, just because we see them not maybe going to the doctor as frequently until they've maybe gotten to that point where they're feeling ill due to the side effects of diabetes. Also, another one is our age. We see that 45 and over, we start seeing an increased risk of diabetes, and you'll see on that test, the older you are, the increased risk you have of type 2 diabetes. And let me say, and as it says on the screener, this is a screener for type 2, not type 1. Those are two different situations. Also, just your ethnicity. So we see increase with Hispanics, African Americans, Pacific Islanders. And those, we can't change anything about our gender. We can't change anything about our age or ethnicity. Right. And then it starts getting into asking about, are you physically active? Because we see that physical activity improves what I was talking about, that insulin resistant. Physical activity actually helps us use our insulin so much better. And it can help with weight management, weight control, because that's also a risk factor. It's obesity. And especially individuals that maybe carry their weight more through the middle, we see more of that increased risk of insulin resistance to type 2 diabetes. And I'm trying to think of what else is listed on the gestational diabetes is another one. And gestational diabetes, that is where when we've been diagnosed with diabetes during our pregnancy, and more times than not, after we deliver, everything goes back to normal. We no longer have the diabetes, but because of that diagnosis, we have that increased risk down the road, about tenfold increased risk.
Okay. So now, do you encourage everybody to take this test, and then maybe once they realize or see where they fall, maybe go and talk to their healthcare provider?
Yeah, definitely. If you screen a 5 or more, you do want to go talk to your doctor. But it's just kind of empowering yourself, knowing where you're at, taking the screener, whether, going to their website, going to the American Diabetes Association, they can take it online, or just print the actual screener. And then look at it and say, like we talked about, what do I have control over and what do I not have control over? And if you're at risk to do those things that maybe we can make some type of lifestyle changes for, then we want to prevent diabetes or delay the onset as long as we can.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All valuable information. And of course, we'll post everything on our website at ktvo.com, and we'll link up information with Carrie Snyder if you have any information or questions as well. Thank you again, Carrie, for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.